Since we made a video on North Carolina's city beginning with Charl, we had to follow it up with South Carolina's own version. So here are the stadiums and arenas of Charleston, South Carolina. Johnson Hagood Stadium. When a college football stadium is named after an individual, it's usually a former player, or a school administrator, or a wealthy donor, or even a politician. But Johnson Hagood was a Confederate commander. He then became governor of South Carolina, so this too falls into the above categories. But yeah, the Citadel is a military college, and Brigadier General Johnson Hagood attended it. Naming it after the Confederate soldier was of course a little controversial, presumably because Hagood is spelled differently to how it's pronounced. Anyway, as you would hope for, the stadium does reflect the grandiose name that the school has. Not only does the facade of the main stand resemble a citadel or a castle, so does the Altman Athletic Center beyond the southern end zone. The visitors stand has got absolutely nothing in common with any citadel ever. Maybe the colour. McAlister Fieldhouse. This opened in 1939 as the Citadel Armory. However, it was a major renovation in 1989 that gave it the more sleek and modern look that it has today. Well, I say sleek and modern, it too plays into the Citadel theme, so it kinda looks like a castle still. That renovation also increased the capacity. As is often the case with older basketball arenas, the interior layout is a little unconventional by today's standards. In particular, the corner seating looks a little odd. It rises higher than the rest. The interior does look pretty good overall though. This center-hung video board, by the way, was donated by the class of 1964 in 2014 in celebration of its 50-year reunion. As you can see, not only is there the class of 64 written on it, but in each corner there is a bulldog that definitely doesn't have rabies. Always love a bit of theming. Credit One Stadium is the showpiece venue at the Family Circle Tennis Center, which hosts the annual Charleston Open, a women's tennis tournament, so it can now host over 10,000 spectators, which is pretty big considering that it's only a WTA 500 event. In case you were wondering, that's not actually a hard court, it's green clay. Well, not actual clay, it's made from crushed metabasalt. I can certainly understand why they'd make tennis courts out of that, because at nearly every supermarket you can find metabasalt sitting between the garlic salt and the kosher salt. Looks cool as well. You do have to bag the courts though. North Charleston Coliseum is home to the South Carolina Stingrays. It's an interesting choice to name your ice hockey team the Stingrays, given that the only time you really see stingrays on ice is when they're sitting in an Asian wet market waiting to be purchased and then eaten. Originally, this arena wasn't going to have an ice rink. It wasn't until partway into the construction of it that the decision was made to allow a new team, the Stingrays, to play here. The first event it hosted was the Figure Skating World Cup. Go figure. I've probably already spoken too much about video boards, but I have to mention that in 1997, the video board at this arena fell whilst it was being lowered, which sadly killed a volunteer who was helping prepare the arena for an upcoming rodeo event. It has since been replaced, not once but twice. This too has a slightly unusual seating layout.
Don't listen to my former self. The ends have just been blocked off by some sort of curtain thing. Okay, continue.
Joseph P. Riley Jr. Park. Joseph P. Riley is the longest serving mayor of Charleston. 41 years, jeez. This place really should be called the Dog Park though, as it's home to both the Citadel Bulldogs and a minor league baseball team called the Charleston River Dogs. Which is a fitting name because the ballpark is situated just one baseball field length away from the Ashley River. Despite the fact that it's situated on land that was originally owned by the Citadel, this ballpark is government owned and is technically not part of the Citadel campus. So, no castle-like facade unfortunately. It looks like more of a combination of a typical minor league ballpark and some of the other buildings in the city. Looks good. The interior certainly looks more like the former, as you might expect. Unfortunately, despite the proximity, spectators don't really get much of a view of the river. But trees are good as well. The Citadel isn't the only college team in town. The College of Charleston has a couple of nice sports venues as well. TD Arena doesn't look like a castle, but apparently 200,000 bricks were used in the construction of it. That sounds like a lot, but then again, I have no idea how many bricks it takes to build a regular house. Like, I don't know, 8,000? I'd say there are around 8,000 bricks there. Anyway, within the 200,000 bricks, there is an intimate seating layout with a small mezzanine level. Nothing unconventional. Weirdly, the first game to take place in this arena didn't involve the Charleston Cougars at all. It was a game between TCU and Western Michigan. That was part of the Charleston Classic, an event that is always held here, but Charleston only sometimes competes in it. They've won it once. Patriots Point Soccer Stadium. Charleston seems to be a big military town, because not only do they have the Citadel, but there's a big World War II era aircraft carrier and destroyer just over there. I should mention that Charleston was also the site of the first ever successful submarine attack. That was during the US Civil War. I suppose I didn't have to specify that it was the US Civil War, because I don't think the Somali Civil War made it to Charleston. This stadium was first built to host the Charleston Cougars soccer team, but the Charleston Battery, a professional team, have well and truly taken over. It was even renovated extensively prior to their arrival in 2020. I suppose it goes without saying, but the battery is referring to a group of artillery guns, and not a means of storing electricity. Man, I've really got to stop pointing out the obvious. That's a lovely view of the bridge. Damn, I did it again. And those were the Stadiums of Charleston. It was a nice and varied array of sports venues indeed. So we've done Charlotte, North Carolina, and Charleston, South Carolina. So which should we do next? Should we do Charlemagne, West Carolina? Or Charlie's Knob in East Carolina? I hear that's a beautiful place. It's up to you. Oh, thanks for watching. Have a good one.